Welcome back, KG and the gentlemen, this Wednesday afternoon, General.
Yes, Cage, of course, all the news is about Travis Tuck, the 22-year-old player from Hawthorn that's been the first player to fall under the 3-strike rule. We thought it would be good to catch up with an absolute legend of the game, 4-time Gary medalist on the panel Friday night. Exactly. Russell Ebert joins us.
A parent of an AFL footballer.
Absolutely right. Russ, how are you?
I'm very, very well, thanks, Phil. And Ken, I hope you're well too.
Good, Russ. Now, Russ, Travis Tuck, of course, became the first player in AFL to face a 3-strike ruling, suspended for 12 weeks. It's brought a lot of discussion in, of course, about the AFL drug ruling policy now. Think the 3-strike policy needs review, Russ?
Well, it certainly does, Phil, and Ken and I have spoken about this a number of times, and being parents, and not only just parents, but parents of sporting youngsters in this system, I certainly believe that it's got to be revisited.
Russell, when a player returns a positive swab, only 2 people are told, the club doctor and the AFL medical commissioner. Surely the parents should be told. If Brett tested positive, would you want to know?
Oh, certainly, Ken, and you're right. The player's notified, the AFL club doctor is notified, and the AFL medical officer is notified, and then the player's instructed to attend compulsory meeting with the AFL medical officer, and then he or she initiates counselling, education and monitoring. Now, if that was young Brett, I want to know, to try and be supportive and help in the whole process.
Russ, I see it from a different angle. I think as long as they're supportive parents, I mean, you've been around a long time, sometimes the parents could be more damaging if they were told. So they first have to establish that they're the supportive parent or parents. I guess I took it a step further, suggesting that the player had to nominate 4 people that were outside the AFL, so not counting the doctor, not counting the AFL medical commissioner. He has to nominate 4 people that will help him through this next stage and support him along the way. Now, that may be his 2 parents, maybe 1 parent, may not be, but at least a minimum of 4 people to help him. Yes,
that's a good idea in theory. However, I would also want to screen the people that's been nominated.
Yeah, the 4 people have to...
I don't want to put the fox in charge of the hen house.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
You lose a lot of eggs and you lose a lot of chicks before you realise that you've got a fox.
Yeah. Russell, have you mentioned this to any of the authorities within the clubs that you're concerned about the parents not being informed?
Well, I've certainly spoken with, a number of officials, and the brief coming out of the AFL states that 1.8 states the AFL has been advised and accepts that a more rehabilitative model of management, including education, counselling and monitoring treatment, is appropriate in deterring the use of illicit drugs.
Well,
they go on to say the dangers posed by marijuana are less severe than other substances such as cocaine and ecstasy, such that a less severe regime in respect of marijuana is appropriate. Now, that's their illicit drugs policy.
What about the club? Should the club be informed as well, the coach?
Well, Ken, the way I look at it, this environment here, we have 47 players. Now, at least at least 23 or 24 of those are from interstate. Now, I would hate to be a parent with my son or daughter interstate in an environment where they aren't being monitored closely and looked after.
I agree totally.
And even now, we've had the Ben Cousins issue, we've had the Matthew Newton issue, we've had Paddy and Bert on TV just in absolute angst and maybe a little bit of ignorance too. So surely the parents are the ones, because Ken and Phil, they're the ones that are going to have to pick up the pieces.
Correct.
Like if these lads are delisted, or if a young lass is dropped out of a squad because of an indiscretion, the parents, your family are there forever. And why wait right till the end, 3 strikes, 2 strikes, whatever, to then have to go and pick up the pieces when your support could be absolutely paramount.
Correct.
And maybe stop the second and third offence.
Exactly.
Yeah, look, I suppose the other part of it, Russ, that people could say that the player could always tell the parents, but most players would be pretty reluctant to tell their parents if they didn't have to of this situation. So does the AFL have to take responsibility in letting the parents know?
Well, I believe, and I had a situation when I was coaching, I took it on myself to ring the parents of two lads that I had to suspend one and be a little bit harsher on another one. And I took it on myself to ring because I knew there would be questions asking why this lad wasn't selected and why he wasn't at training. I took it on myself to ring. It's the hardest phone call I've ever had to make.
What was the reaction from his parents towards you, Russell, with that news?
There was a little bit of disbelief. There was angst. There was parental discussion between myself and the people because I knew, well, they had sons and daughters. I had sons and daughters. So I took it on myself and said, hey, if I was in that position, I would really, really appreciate and respect a phone call with that body telling me about my child.
Yeah. Russ, with Brett playing with the Power, you get a chance, obviously, to mix with a lot of the other parents whose kids are playing. You travel interstate, you see a lot of the parents there. Most of the parents feel this way about it?
Oh, without doubt, Phil. I sat in the grandstand of a suburban club not 6 weeks ago. The lad was playing. He's on our squad. And the parents said, look, we're not sure just how he's thinking now and what his thoughts are as far as his footy and his progress, and he's sort of plateaued. So the players, they tell the parents not too much in some instances. Well, and we're seeing that on the national stage now where ignorance is just no fix for anything.
I just wonder how the message should be relayed to the AFL that there are parents out there that certainly in the situation would want to know if their son or daughter tested positive. To me, it's crazy.
Well, without doubt, because even the second offence, the player's notified again, the club doctor is notified again, the AFL medical officer is obviously notified, and then they talk to the player about education and counselling, and then the general manager of football operations is notified that there has been a breach. It's not until the third strike that everything
comes out,
goes into place. There is counselling, there is education, but gee, they have lectures every year from the people, the different agencies, and workshops with alcohol, with drugs, with religious and racial vilification, with boozing, binge drinking. They've all had that over the last few weeks, Ken and Phil, with the AFL Players Association.
Exactly. Russell, 3 strikes, is it 1 strike too many in your eyes or not?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, let's look after the player. Look, the player's health and well-being is paramount here.
Yeah.
And, okay, in society, maybe without the support structures that we have in the AFL system, without them in society, maybe they think differently and act differently. But here we have support structures.
Correct.
There is more pressure on our players than there is with Bill Bloggs or Mary in the street. They are scrutinised to the nth degree. Now, with that scrutiny has got to come a relevant support network. So I'm a big believer that, okay, what happens in society can be mirrored here, but we need deeper and more meaningful support than just not telling parents.
I agree. Totally.
Russ, you spend a lot of time out in the schools with the Power players. You're around it a fair bit. Now, on the back of the Ben Cousins documentary, of course, and now Travis Tuck, you're going to, I would imagine, be asked a lot of questions about drugs in the AFL.
Oh, mixed emotions too, Phil. We're talking to primary school students. We went to 4 schools last Thursday. We've got 2 schools again tomorrow. Now, those children, some of them looked at that and thought, gee, here he is playing AFL football and he's doing drugs. And hell, he looks healthy to me. He played on the weekend. What I wanted to see with that documentary was not the glossy things, all that. These children of today and parents have got to be shown the uncontrollable convulsions, in the streets without any dignity, any respect at all. That's where bloody drugs are gonna take them. So don't glamorise it by saying, oh, yeah, look, I trained hard, and then a reward for training hard was to go out and absolutely, what was his words, annihilate as much drug as I could.
Yeah,
Russ,
that was a
It's
bad.
just not on.
That was a bad message. That.
On the back of all this, Russ, is there a case now that should be put forward to the AFL that unless the player can present a reason that his parents shouldn't be told on the first strike, they need to be notified immediately?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I repeat, the end result is going like my guts churned when I saw Michael Tuck picking up young Travis there, and I thought, gee, Tucky, here you are, you've probably the game's record holder,
Yep.
got respect of everyone, and you should have been involved earlier. And talking and supporting.
Yep,
and
I agree.
Maybe the athletes would transgress again, but at least you know then that you're involved as close to the start as possible, and you can try and support and educate and mentor, because in the end, the footy clubs will get rid of the players, and where do they go then?
Well,
they go back to their family, or they go on the street.
Russell, we're going to send you to AFL House with a clear and strong message that you just told us today, because you make a lot of sense, Russell.
Oh, and some comments too from the footballers too, Ken.
I agree totally, yeah.
Yep.
Good on you, Russ. We'll talk to you again on Friday night.
Oh, I look forward to it.
Good on you, Russell Ebert, 4-time Magarey medalist.